Welcome, everybody, to the final score. I'm your host, Nicholas Marcinov, and hockey season is almost here in just a couple of days. Hockey will be back. The NHL is coming back with a few twists and turns. But to help me talk about this season, I'm joined today by one of my best buddies. His name is Chris. Chris, introduce yourself just a little bit.
How's it going, guys? I am very inexperienced with hockey. On a scale of sports, it would go for me baseball, football, basketball, then hockey. So I'm kind of here to learn and be kind of pumped up for the season. If you can't tell from the Little Caesars sign right there, I'm a Detroit Red Wings fan. I don't have any gear because, like I said, I'm not very experienced with hockey.
And I, however, will be acting as the expert. I am a huge fan of hockey. My favorite team is the Vegas Golden Knights. Right now, I am rocking the reverse retro jersey. My girlfriend got it for me for Christmas, so very big gift. I did not get her something this big in return. I'm bad. Uh, but it was very thoughtful, and I love it. So, with that in mind, let's go ahead and start talking about what's going on. First, we're going to go ahead and just start with a quick recap of the 2019-2020 season. The year started off normal. You know, everything was going according to plan. You started in October, and then, well, the aim is to finish in June, July, but then pandemic happens. And so the whole NHL, the whole sports world paused on March 12th. There were rumors about how do we get started? How do we return? Will there be a Stanley Cup champion? Something got worked out, and on September 19th, the NHL returned in a somewhat expanded playoff format. And I say somewhat expanded playoff format because they called it play-in rounds, where almost all the teams, all but seven, got to compete for the chance to make a playoff spot. Uh, so the NHL worked through it, and the Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Dallas Stars in the finals 4-1 to win the Stanley Cup. So congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning. You guys earned this. You were away from your families for so long, and I'm positive whenever you guys got to see each other, it was worth the wait. So thank you guys for playing hockey for us. It was fantastic. But Chris, you don't really know what happened last season, do you?
Not really, no. All I know is that, like you said, the sports world kind of paused, and when the Lightning and Dallas Stars came into the Stanley Cup Finals, I was just like, oh, so that's who's in.
It was a big shock. The Dallas Stars, I don't think anybody was really expecting them to make it to the finals, and yet they did. They pulled off a huge upset against my guys, the Vegas Golden Knights. But you know what? That's okay because Kudobin played his out of his mind. It was fantastic to watch. Uh, but just so you know, one of the seven teams to not make it to the playoffs were your Detroit Red Wings. They were just so bad, they weren't invited.
Yeah, I kind of figured that. I don't think they've been good since the early 2000s, so that's okay.
But no, they had a really good 20-year plus playoff streak that unfortunately got ended, and since then they haven't been able to make it back to any of the big dances. And it could have been because of the divisions that they are normally in. Because if you look at it, they are in the Atlantic Division. Uh, the Tampa Bay Lightning won. You have the Boston Bruins, who are a juggernaut. The Toronto Maple Leafs are always one of the big favorites coming out of Canada every year. Uh, the Montreal Canadiens have one of the best goalies in the league in Carey Price. The Florida Panthers are overdue for a playoff spot. You guys have a stacked division. So it's hard to make the playoffs under those conditions. But then look at all these other divisions. You have the Metropolitan Division, you have the Central Division, and then the Pacific Division. Uh, there's so many good games. And normally in a year, every team will face each other at least twice, one at home and once on the road. You play your division multiple times. Sounds familiar, right? Sounds normal, right?
The one thing that I'm sorry to interrupt you is, weren't the Red Wings ever in like the Pacific Division at
They
one point?
were or at least they were part of the Western Conference.
Yeah.
Uh, at one point, they were part of the Western Conference. I'm not too sure when they changed to the Eastern Conference, but a lot of their championships did come as part of a Western Conference championship.
Okay.
Yeah, interesting, right?
Yeah,
Love
because I
hockey.
yeah, even though I haven't been into it that much.
Hey, that's okay. I'm very proud of you for knowing that. But Chris, what if I told you the 2021 season, they're calling it 2020-2021 season, even though it's going to start and finish in 2021. What if I told you this behind me changes?
I wouldn't be a bit surprised about how it would be kind of like baseball, where each division was played, or they separated the divisions into like East, West, and Central.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of would think that it would be the same for hockey this year.
Well, yes. The reasoning for it is a little bit different, though. So these are the new divisions. And the main reason for the new divisions are these guys right here. This North Division, this Canadian Division, because Canada has such like strict border regulations for the COVID protocols and everything. It will be really difficult to take Canadian teams, bring them to the United States, bring United States, put them in Canada just for some games because you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. It's really, really difficult. Not to mention, like New York has a policy where you have to quarantine for 2 weeks. So it's frustrating. But the NHL decided, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do just a Canadian division. We're going to realign the West, Central, and East divisions. Uh, and this is where it gets crazy, Chris.
I
Is
could tell it. Two Florida teams in Central, kind of weird, because Florida's like all the way to the east.
I will admit their realignment and where they decide to place the teams don't match what they're called. So hopefully they will be getting different division names because the West Division has Minnesota, and Minnesota is like north central on the U.S. geographical map. But that's besides the point. What I'm trying to get at is the NHL will not be playing 82 games. So normally they play 82 games, and then you have a slobber knocker of a fest for the NHL playoffs. Now it's cut down to 56. And not only is it just 56 games, you will only be playing teams inside of these divisions.
Ooh.
So who knows what's going to happen, because you will only be facing your division rival. And what do you think is going to happen if you only play the same teams 7 or 8 times? And the Canadian team, it's going to be more like 10 times each.
I don't know. That kind of makes me feel like, if once the regular season's over, that these teams are not going to know how to play the other teams unless they have some kind of film to, help guide them a little bit. But that's going to be kind of rough on some of those, just if, playing your own division the whole time.
One of the big draws of hockey are the rivalries, especially divisional rivalries that you make. And most of the time, it's made during the playoffs where it's a 7-game series and you are just trying to fight each other for 4 games, for 4 wins, rather. Now, you're going to know your division very well. Like the San Jose Sharks and Vegas Golden Knights, they hate each other. Now they're guaranteed to play each other 7 or 8 times. Those games are going to be brutal.
Oh, yeah, they are.
But not only that, not only are you going to get these divisional rivalries that are going to most likely heat up, you're going to create new rivalries. And those teams that haven't played since March, like the Detroit Red Wings, the Anaheim Ducks, the Los Angeles Kings, they might be one of the surprise favorites to make a playoff because they've been rested for so long. Everybody else, they had to go and compete in this long tournament away from their families. Whereas like the Kings, the Ducks, the Buffalo Sabres, they all had a lot of time to, recalculate themselves. They got to watch everything. It's been 10 months. They're ready to get back on the ice.
Oh yeah, I would say so after 10 months.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be very exciting. And one of my favorite things about the season is that you're not really going to be able to guess who's going to be a great team against another great team until the playoffs, which we assume is going to play out normally. From what I've been hearing, is it's going to be following the normal format. It's going to be a lot of fun to just watch and see what happens. And of course, I'm going to make sure you do your homework and watch some of these games because you got to get into it, man. All of these brutal fights and everything. I'm sure people in the comments are already saying, you got to watch hockey. You have to watch hockey. And
Is there NHL mobile that I could do like NFL mobile?
not free games, but don't worry. I got a hook up. I'll hook you up, buddy.
All right.
Yeah. So I think that's going to do it for this episode, just because, I just wanted to do a quick recap of just what's been going on. I didn't really want it to get into like player movements and whatnot, because this is a brand new season for you. And so if I were to tell you this player went here, you just nod along and be like, yes.
Yeah, this is okay. Yeah.
So I just wanted to tell you this is what's going to be happening. I'm pumped for this season. I'm super excited to just see everybody get back on the ice. And like I said, I'm looking forward to the division rivalries. I'm looking forward to the new realignments. Is there anything in particular you might be looking forward to?
I don't know actually. I'll have to get back to you on that if we ever have like a follow up to this episode. Maybe I'll think of something that I'm looking forward to after maybe like the first couple weeks of the season.
Sounds good, buddy.
Although
Sounds good.
I am looking forward to the Red Wings potentially making a playoff run. You had my hopes up there, saying that they haven't played for 10 months, so maybe they might be a favorite. But we'll
They
have to
could.
see.
Anything can happen. Anything could happen. So we'll definitely keep our eyes out on it. And that's the final score. Thank you and good night.